This is the Harry Loomis Show. Welcome back to the Harry Loomis Show. Today is Wednesday, August 18th, and Saturday was a big day in the world of NASCAR because I think the entire racing world got introduced to the future superstar that is Connor Zilisch. A lot of people have already been pretty high on Zilisch from what he's done this year. This is an 18-year-old kid that in just a span of a year has won the 24 hours of Daytona, won the 12 hours of Sebring, has made some truck starts and has looked pretty good, and then won the pole in his first truck race at Circuit of the Americas. He's been just making a mockery of the ARCA series. He's run 6 races in the main ARCA series, and he has 5 wins and a second place finish. He's running the ARCA East series right now and dominating, and Saturday was the coronation of all of that. He made his Xfinity Series debut at Watkins Glen, driving the 88 car for Dale Earnhardt Jr., a car that he will be driving full-time next year, and he whipped the field. He was cooking them in the first stage after winning the pole, being the fastest in practice, led all the laps in the opening stage, won it by about 11 seconds. Only reason why he didn't lead every lap in that race is because of stage cautions and differing strategies at a road course. But there was no doubt who the best driver was that day. There was no doubt who the fastest car was that day. It was Connor Zilisch, and even with all the chaos, he ended up winning in his debut, the first time that has happened since Ty Gibbs back in 2021. Before that, you'd have to go back to 2006 when Kurt Busch did it as an already established NASCAR Cup Series champion. This is a future superstar in the making. I fully believe that Connor Zilisch will one day be the best driver in the Cup Series, and I think it's going to be in about 6-7 years' time. The sky is the limit for this kid. For those that don't know, Zilisch signed with Trackhouse as a development driver in 2023. He is that team's future. They have Chastain, they have Suarez, they have Shane Van Gisbergen for the time being. They got rid of Zane Smith. Connor Zilisch, they are putting all their eggs in the Connor Zilisch basket for the next couple of years to come, and you can't blame him. This upcoming year, like I said, he is going to be in the Xfinity Series full-time. He is skipping the Truck Series, and I want to discuss that because I've seen some people saying that they don't like that. They don't like drivers skipping series in the development program. But I think the thing that we all need to remember is that development is not linear. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach to driver development. Yes, he's skipping the Truck Series, and yes, you can look at this past year, guys like Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith never ran full-time in the Xfinity Series. They went straight from the Truck Series to the Cup Series. If you ask drivers, there's a lot of differing opinions. I remember I asked some drivers this at Kansas, and some of them said that the Truck Series, the trucks now drive a little bit more similarly to the Cup Series cars based on the new next gen car. But I think the Xfinity Series is objectively the better series of the two. The racing product is better. The cars drive better. Just the excitement, the battles, I think, are better. There's more parity in the series than in the Truck Series. I mean, Corey Heim and Christian Eckes have won 8 of the 17 races this year. Those two are tearing up the series. Ty Majeski's not far behind them. Then it's a pretty big drop-off. No disrespect to guys like Nick Sanchez, but the cream of the crop is so much higher in the Truck Series than the top guys are in the Xfinity Series. The Xfinity Series is wide open. There's a lot of really, really good drivers. But my point is, the Truck Series, what we need to remember is, yes, a lot of people are using this for development. You know, you look at guys like Christopher Bell, Eric Jones, William Byron, Tyler Reddick. They all kind of did the now traditional Truck Series, Xfinity Series, Cup Series development. Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, just to name a couple other guys. But this is a relatively new style of development. You have to remember, even back to the early 2010s, Kyle Larson never ran a full series in the Truck never ran a full season in the Truck Series. He ran a couple races at the end of 2012. 2013, he was full-time in the Xfinity Series with Turner Motorsports. Yes, he ran some truck races, got a win, but he was never a full-time Truck Series driver. Chase Elliott, same thing. Ran a pretty good amount of the races in 2013 once he turned 18, but he did not run the full schedule. He went to Xfinity in 2014 with Junior Motorsports and won the championship right away. Those are 2 Cup Series champions, and they didn't take the new traditional route of development, and it worked out fine for them. I'm seeing people saying the same thing about Zilisch, that he should have to go through all these steps. My question is, why? NASCAR is not like other sports. It's not like baseball. We have to go to high A, then double A, then triple A, then the big leagues. You find the ride that fits you the best and you go there and you work from that point. And the 88 car with Dale Earnhardt Jr. as your owner is the best possible position for a guy like Connor Zilisch to be in. And I don't think it's out of the question to say that Connor Zilisch could be the next driver at Hendrick Motorsports when one of the current 4 drivers ends up leaving the team. I know what you're going to say. He's a trackhouse driver. Why would Hendrick go to him, or why would he go to Hendrick? My point is, Jeff Gordon was a Bill Davis driver in development, and he ended up at Hendrick. Just because a driver's at a current position now doesn't mean that that's where he's going to stay. Just look at Sheldon Creed. He's been on 3 teams in the past 3 years. Drivers switch up all the time. And if Zilisch sees an opening at Trackhouse and Hendrick Motorsports come, say, 2027, I'll give him 2 years in the Xfinity Series to play it safe. And say he has the 99 available at Trackhouse, say Daniel Suarez is out the door, and say he has the 48. Let's say Alex Bowman's out the door. If you're Connor Zilisch, which one are you taking? You're taking the 48 car. It's an objectively better, more proven ride. Who knows where Trackhouse could be in a couple years' time? They're only 4 years old, something we have to remember. But Hendrick Motorsports is Hendrick Motorsports. I think Connor Zilisch is in the best position for him, and it's just a lesson that we need to remember. Some drivers skip the Xfinity Series, like I said, with Hocevar, with Zane Smith, and with what I honestly think Corey Heim should do. I think Corey Heim is Cup ready right now. I would advocate for him to take the 7 car, replacing Corey LaJoie, or if 2311 gets that last charter that now sounds like Mikey going to RFK, whoever gets the next ride, it should go to Corey Heim. In my opinion, there's not a better potential driver for the Cup Series, especially if you have a driver. If RFK has Kroger, why would you not get the best driver and bring in Corey Heim? Spire is Gamebridge, go get Corey Heim. But you need to remember that not every driver develops the exact same way. Just looking at some guys in the past, like I said, Larson and Elliott never ran Truck Series. Ty Gibbs, even the past couple years, never ran the Truck Series. Sam Mayer looks like he could be Ford's next big prospect come 2025. He never ran full-time in the Truck Series either. Joey Logano never ran full-time. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth never even ran a Truck Series race. Yes, there are some exceptions from back a couple years ago. Kevin Harvick ran a lot of truck races before Xfinity, then Cup. Same thing with Greg Biffle, who won championships in the lower series. But it just goes to prove the point that just because the series are set up the way they are, just because Truck Series typically comes first in the weekend, then Xfinity, then Cup, that doesn't mean that's how you need to develop. The Truck Series was never meant to be a development series. It never had the intention of Cole Custer winning a race in New Hampshire at 16 years old. It was meant for the guys like Mike Skinner, like Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, Ted Musgrave, Ricky Craven, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Hamilton, guys that had little to some success in the Cup Series, and they weren't ever going to win a championship. They were never going to be an elite driver, so they take a step back and just have some fun. That was what the Truck Series was built on, and it quickly over time became something else. You don't have to do it a certain way. I think that's the biggest thing that we can remember, and Connor Zilisch, I think, is handling this perfectly. He's got the perfect people in his corner. He has handled everything that's come to him so well, and I think that he, Corey Heim, and Corey Day, who looks really good as a Hendrick development driver, making his debut for BMR at Bristol this weekend in the Truck Series. Those 3 guys, keep an eye on all 3 of them because they are going to be future superstars in the Cup Series in about 6 years' time. But we're going to move on now to the Cup Series race, a really wacky race at Watkins Glen. Not wacky in terms of everything that really went on. For the most part, it was a pretty standard Watkins Glen race. But the drivers that we saw up front were shocking. This is the first time in playoff history that no playoff drivers finished in the top 5. Chris Buescher got the win. Shane Van Gisbergen in second. Carson Hocevar with his best career finish came in third. A fantastic run for Spire all day long. Who was fourth? Was it Ross Chastain was fourth? And Zane Smith gets his second top 5 of the year. So Hocevar finished third. Smith finished fifth. And Corey LaJoie finished around 8th or so. A banner day for Spire Motorsports across the board. You have to be really happy with that. But I thought it was a really exciting race. It just felt off the whole time because the guys you were expecting to win and run up front didn't really. Buescher, I did think, had the best car, and he handled the strategy the best by a mile. But we had a banner finish at the end. Lee Diffie with another masterful call, throwing it back to Keselowski and Ambrose in 2012. As soon as the move happened, with Van Gisbergen making a little bit of a mistake outside the inner loop, and Buescher being able to move around him and get the win. Van Gisbergen tried to get back to him, just couldn't get it done. Everything about that, the call, the camera shots, literally everything you could ask for in a good shot, they delivered. I thought NBC handled that one beautifully. It was a great race. I had a great time with it. But we're going to move on to my picks for the Bristol night race, my favorite race weekend of the year. Absolutely, positively, no doubt about it. And this week we're going to make picks for all three series. All three series are at Bristol. The trucks are on Thursday, and I think for the second time this year, Christian Eckes will get a win at the world's fastest short track. He should have won this race last year, but lost it late at the end. Corey Heim ended up getting past him. Took care of business earlier this year, beat Kyle Busch at Bristol, which is very hard to do. And I think he's going to get it done and get his fourth win of the year. In the Xfinity Series, there's a couple different ways you could go. I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite, but I'm going to take Chandler Smith. Smith has a win at Bristol in the Truck Series before. He is a pretty good short track racer. I think he needs to get it going into the playoffs. He started the year so well, and he's kind of cooled off since then. This is the playoff or the regular season finale for the Xfinity Series as well. Keep that in mind. And for the Cup Series, obviously there's a lot on the line here. I think the favorite has to be Denny Hamlin, given that it is a cutoff race. And the first two races for him have gone so unbelievably badly right now. He finds himself outside of the playoff cut line. He would be 6 points out if the first round ended today. Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., and Harrison Burton also need good runs as well. Burton probably needs to win. He's 20 points behind. Let's be honest, he's going to have to win this race to be able to make the second round. But I think Hamlin gets in just fine. He doesn't need to win the race. I think he will run up front enough, get enough stage points to offset that points deficit that he faces right now. If he misses the first round, it is a catastrophic failure on all accounts. Make sure that's on the record. There is no possible excuse for Denny Hamlin not to make the second round. But if I'm making a pick for the race, I think I'm going to have to go with Kyle Larson. He's the man at Bristol. He always runs well here. This track is built for him for all intents and purposes. And I think Larson will get his fifth win of the season. Another guy that has not started the playoffs very well should get on the right track here. But we're going to call that good. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the NASCAR portion of the Harry Loomis Show for this week. We'll talk to you again soon. This is the Harry Loomis Show.